Hey y'all, I'm late to my own live. How does that go? We need, guys, to reread this chapter on situated language. So we are going to do that here today. Yeah, my voice is kind of funky because I don't feel right. Muchiro, how are you, sweetheart? It's so good to see you. How are things going? How are you coming with subscribers, sweetie? I haven't seen you for a while. I haven't gone live this early for a while. So that's probably part of it. I'm doing homework a lot. Yeah, it's much more fun when I'm protesting, right? I've been having fun streams where we just chit chat. You can join those. The ones with flowers on them, Muchiro, are not study streams. I am doing homework a lot. A lot of people like the study streams. I understand if you don't like them. They are. I'm shocked that people like the study streams. So, but I appreciate that you don't like them. There are other times you can watch. Today I don't have much to talk about. It is a very slow Tuesday. Nothing much is going on. Thank you, Muchiro. I am so excited. I am so excited to get to 3,000 watch hours. It's a really big deal. It's a really big deal, I'm sure you know. And I have worked really, really hard to get here. Um, and I've been lucky. I've been really lucky. I know you've been on the internet for longer than me and don't have. You had Chinese for your dinner, by the way? You had Chinese food for dinner? Not a Chinese person for dinner, right? Is it dinner time there? It's still before lunchtime here. I like Chinese food. I like Chinese food. Now I start talking, I notice how sick I actually am. I don't have the energy to do it much. We will see if I can get through this chapter. But we can chat for a minute or two, Muchiro. See if other people show up. Are you going to be able to make it to my party on Friday, or is it too middle of the night for you, Muchiro? I am sick. I have a cold. I have a cold. It is definitely in my throat and in my voice. So you should be able to hear it very strongly in my voice. Yeah, yeah. I'm I'm sick, unfortunately. You have to do more homework. Okay, Muchiro. You go and I will start reading. I am much earlier than normal. It's really good to see you, Muchiro. It'd be great to see you at the celebration if you can make it. Bye bye. Okay, you take care, sweetheart. I'm really glad you stopped by. It's always nice to see you. Hi, Jen. I just got your text. Big Chief, how you doing? I feel like it is a draggingly slow morning, and so we have some time to review this chapter in the book uh, that relates to the paper I have to write. So I just want to read it and review it. Jen, I'm really excited. Let me look at that picture. Um, Let me look at the picture you sent me, Jen. Look at that, you guys. Look at what Jen is sending me. I am so excited, Jen. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Thank you. How do you get them kiss cuts so nicely, Jen? Do you have a Cricut? Do you use a Cricut on them? You can't do that. You can't possibly kiss cut them like that with your scissors. They're too regular. They're beautiful. You have a Cricut? Okay, that makes sense then. You'll have to come, when you come to Portland, Jen, you'll have to teach me how to use my Cricut because I can't figure it out. I've got a really nice one and it's just sitting there gathering dust because I can't figure it out. For love nor money. Okay, guys. And I am definitely, I was telling Muchiro, I am definitely beyond the shadow of a doubt sick. So you guys can probably hear it in my voice. I'm going to get a lozenge before I start talking. We're going to read this chapter on situated language. We've already read it once, but we're going to read it again. Sure, a paper cutter's easier than the Cricut for straight cuts. Yeah. The kiss cuts are beautiful, though, Jen. I'm really impressed. Language does not occur in a vacuum. It is situated and contextualized. There are speakers and hearers, a time and a place, a topic and a purpose. This chapter introduces the main ways in which sociolinguists have tried to describe and make sense of how everyday language is molded by and molds the situation of its usage. We then go on to examine several approaches on how language operates as part of interaction. This chapter deals with the use of language to do things through speech acts and the ways in which politeness or impoliteness affects how we address another person. It looks in detail at the sociolinguistics of interaction, how that can lead to miscommunication between people, and the ways in which gender dynamics affect conversational patterns such as turn taking. Underlying this is a concern for the micro detail of everyday conversation that is informed by the methods and theories of anthropology, in particular by ethnographic approaches. I'm always surprised there's so many of you here listening to the textbook, but I will continue. 6.1 Situations, Contexts, and Domains. A situation is the extended social occasion within which speech occurs. Situations are as variegated as human encounters. Card games, ballroom couplings, surgical teams in operation, and fist fights, as Irving Goffman put it in a brief early paper on the neglected situation in 1964. Language is one player in situation, although most situations are not primarily defined by language, but by the shared activity. They may, however, contain conventional language elements, and speech may even be the main activity or prerequisite of what occurs. A committee meeting, a trial in court, a school class are all speech situations. They cannot, in fact, take place without speaking, and speaking that is appropriate to the specific situation. Context is a term that is widely used in sociolinguistics, even when scholars question its appropriateness. So here's a question for you guys. How justifiable is it to treat language and context as separate entities? And how practical is it not to treat them as separable? Every context has specific language, is I think what they're saying. I think that's what they're saying. Closely related to situation is the notion of context. This assumes that a situation consists of two elements: a core or event or activity, and the field of action in which it is embedded, the context. Traditionally, these have been treated as two relatively separable components. Goodwin and Durante, 1992. An interaction between them has been regarded as essentially one way, from the context to the language. But sociolinguists became increasingly aware that language itself shapes and reshapes the context, and therefore the overall situation of its own use. Even at the most basic level of who counts as a participant in a situation, language choice can define people as in or out of the frame. In an early phrasing that could represent much of the sociolinguistic work of the early 21st century, John Gumpers wrote, "Sociolinguistic variables are themselves constitutive of social reality." Well, I completely spaced out during that paragraph. Language itself shapes and reshapes the context, and therefore the overall situation of its own use. Even at the most basic level of who counts as a participant in a situation, language choice can define people as in or out of the frame. In an early phrasing that could represent much of the sociolinguistic work of the early 21st century, John Gumpers wrote, "Sociolinguistic variables are themselves constitutive of social reality." Fishman offers a series of questions about language use in society, which have been widely used as a shorthand way of characterizing sociolinguistics. Who uses what variety of what language, to whom, when, where, about what, and to what end? Who uses what variety of what language, to whom, when, where, about what, and to what end? A good deal of sociolinguistic inquiry can be pursued through these questions, and throughout this book, we address the issues they raise in different guises. Such a series of questions seeks to investigate the norms of language usage. That is to say, the generally accepted social patterns of language use and of behavior and attitude toward language. These questions can be used, for example, to examine the choice between polite and familiar second person pronouns, a common feature of many languages. The so-called TV pronouns in European languages, for example, tu versus vous in French, were the focus of a pioneering study by Brown and Gilman, which characterized them as encoding solidarity versus power. Hi, Susan. How are you? It's good to see you. Fishman also approached context through his concept of domains of use. The choice of which code to use in habitual situations in a bilingual or multilingual society is not random. Fishman writes about a Belgian official who tends to use one code, standard French, at the office, another, standard Dutch, at his club, and a third, a local variety of Flemish, at home. Fluffer, hi, sweetie. It's really good to see you. The domain proposal aims to capture the regularity of these uses without losing the possibility of individual choice and fluctuation. The description here may represent the official's typical code choices, but he will occasionally use Flemish at the office, French at the club, and standard Dutch at home. Note the links between domain and language function, which I introduced in Chapter 3. Function is a macro level concept which focuses on how languages operate across a whole nation or society. Domain is a parallel micro level notion which is concerned with the code choices that individuals or small groups make in particular interactions. Typical combinations. Can you all hear the cold in my throat? Domain is a parallel micro-led notion which is concerned with the code choices that individuals or small groups make in particular interactions. Hi, Sunrise Dawn. I've got all of y'all here. I'm so excited for Friday, you guys. It's going to come quick. I am sick. I've got that nasty cold and sore throat that's going around. Typical combinations of three main elements feed in to make a domain: the topic of talk, the locale or physical setting, and the expected role relations between participants. It's dog ear cleaning day. That's a wonderful thing to do, Fluffer. That's a wonderful thing to do. Typical combinations of these three main typical combinations of three main elements feed in to make a domain. The topic of talk, the locale or physical setting, and the expected role relations between participants. Thank you, Fluffer. A little bit of the leave helped. A little bit of anti-inflammatory painkiller has helped. My throat doesn't feel quite so bad. But boy, can one hear it in my voice. Hopefully, I won't lose my voice. I don't usually do that. The different factors buttress each other, and the likelihood of a particular language code occurring becomes stronger. In the education domain, for example, there is typically a clustering of participants in defined role relationships, teacher and students, meeting in an educational institution and discussing the content of a course of study. In a bilingual society, this educational domain will characteristically favor one language rather than another. For example, English in Malawi or Spanish in Mexico. Frog in my throat. Exactly, Susan. I'm croaking a little bit. And I keep trying to cough to clear it, and there's nothing way to clear it. Situated language has long been the interest of broadly anthropological approaches to sociolinguistics, which provide much of the substance of this chapter. The most comprehensive early proposals came from Del Hymes, starting with a pioneering article in 1962. Thank you, Sunrise Dawn. He developed a framework which he first called the ethnography of speaking. Ethnography is the core method of social anthropology. It involves a close description of a community's way of life, what they do together, how they interact with each other, how they see themselves in the world. It is mainly the fruit of participant observation. The researcher observes the everyday life of the group through long-term involvement and experience, whether a plateau village in Madagascar or a gang of teenage Latina girls in Northern California. The ethnographer learns the group's language and practices, often over the course of a year or more, and with subsequent return visits. She keeps detailed field notes of what she sees and hears, makes audio or video recordings, asks questions, probably conducts interviews. She aims to set aside her own preconceptions and to understand the group in its own terms, but also to maintain an independent view on what she finds. That is what I'm trying to do. That is the position I'm in right now with this Scientology greeting stuff. The result is a thick description which leads to an understanding of the group and its practices, including clarifying in what sense it is a group at all. Blending ethnography into the study of language, Heim's formulation of the ethnography of communication was typical for the early stages of an academic discipline. He advocated the value of developing a taxonomy, a structured and stratified list of the elements of a communication situation, like that used to classify plants into families, species, and so on. This taxonomy aimed to help the ethnographer of communication observe, specify, and interpret the patterns of a group's communicative behavior. In a series of publications, Himes offered related, although not identical, listing of the components of the speech situation. The best known and most complete list contains 16 terms, which he groups under 8 headings whose initials form a mnemonic spelling out the word speaking. Many of these components have been mentioned in earlier chapters, and others will come up later. This is no surprise since they include most of the basic parameters surrounding the use of language. The research activity at the end of this chapter applies the speaking taxonomy to analyzing the classroom situation. A situation consists of the circumstances in which a particular communication occurs. Setting means the physical parameters of time and location. For example, 6 p.m. on a computer train in New York City. Scene is a culturally defined occasion that is involved. Language happens very differently at a rock concert compared to a cocktail party. Participants are the people who are taking part in a situation where language is being used. Classifying and illustrating participant roles and the part they play in language situations has attracted attention from successive sociolinguists because participants are arguably the key component of any interaction. I deal with Heim's version of these roles only briefly and return later in the chapter to look at more detailed formulations. 2 of Heim's 4 categories identify the people producing the language. The speaker-sender is the authority behind something that is being communicated, the person responsible for the message. The addresser is the physical producer of the speech, the voice box. 2 categories distinguish types of receivers. Hearers, audience, who are not directly targeted, and the addressees who are. I need to take a look at that. Gesundheit to me. Pardon me, y'all. So once I'm finished with class, guys, what do you want to do about study times? Do you want me to just go find papers that I think are interesting and we will read them? Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. Ends are the purposes of a particular communication. Himes divides this into two. Outcomes are the general goals of an activity within a culture. For example, a university graduation ceremony involves staff and students acting out a rite of passage in front of supporting audience. Goals, on the other hand, are individual participants' intentions in relation to the overall event. For example, family members who come to support a graduate. The difference between outcomes and goals is most obvious when there is a clash between the general and the individual purposes. Say a political dispute is underway between students and university management, and some students at the graduation ceremony voice their protest. Then their goals differ from the outcome and from the goals of most other participants. The importance of participants' goals in communication have been a particular interest of social psychologists of language. Act sequence involves two components. The message form covers the way things are said, and in fact, the stuff of most language analysis. The message content is what is said, the topic or theme. I think you did, Sunrise Dawn. Same way I spoiled Orion. He's spoiled rotten, y'all. Right now he's sleeping on the sofa. Not getting into trouble for once. The message form covers the way things are said. The message content is what is said. Different topics will often trigger different ways of speaking. We discuss road deaths differently from local gossip. You blame your mom, so long as she's willing to take the blame, Sunrise Dawn. Oh my God, guys. Okay, let's keep going. Key is the manner or tone at which something is presented. What is superficially the same thing may be said in different ways. Conversationalists, like actors, can impart to a line widely different readings through different keyings. The most obvious manifestation of key is when the way something is said subverts the meaning so that it becomes the opposite of what the surface of the words appears to intend. For example, irony. Oh, Sunrise, good for you. You can do it, girl. I know those ciggies are hard to get off. I'm really proud of you. Excellent job. Excellent job. And if you're looking for a substitute, if you can't do it without the cigarettes, I highly recommend a vape to taper you off. Um, but that's only if you just decide you can't do it. You have to keep with the cigarettes, which I know I've done that when trying to get off something before. Oh, good, Sunrise Dawn. The vapes are nice. They don't stink. They've got a million flavors. They don't mess up your house. They don't make your clothes stink. I highly recommend. It solves my oral fixation better than as well as cigarettes do. It took me some time to get used to the shape. I would prefer to do this with the cigarette. Um, but I can't smoke in the house. It makes the whole house stink. Cigarettes are incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. The vapes cost about $10 and last like 2 weeks. Maybe 3, depending on how much you use it. Maybe $15. It will make you cough right at first. Even if you're used to smoking cigarettes, it'll make you cough. Yeah. You have to get used to it. You have to get used to it. I recommend Geek Bar. They have some great flavors. Um, they have blue raspberry ice. They have peach. They have watermelon ice. They have mango. They have cherry. They have Charms candy. They have mint. They have something called Metamoon. It's like blow pop. They have mint, a sour apple, a tropical rainbow blast that's kind of Skittles. They have melon, strawberry ice, banana, berry, blueberry, watermelon, tobacco. And then they have one called FCUKING. Um, fuck. It's not supposed to be effing fab. I mean, it is effing fab, but it's FCUKING fab. It's pretty. Yes, exactly, Red. Your lungs will begin to get healthier almost immediately. Fucking fab is a unique fusion of fruity and tropical notes. Geek Bar Mimosa and Guava Ice. I'd just recommend trying the fucking fab. If you want to try something. The nice thing about the Geek Bars is they have this adjustment at the mall. Yeah, you shouldn't be smoking anyway with that COPD sunrise. You can set this to 2 level of clouds. So you can set it in the middle for less vape less for less vapor. And you can turn it all the way off too. Well, I don't know if you can see a difference there. There's a lot less. You can have 2 settings for less vapor. So that's nice. That's an idea for you, Sunrise Dawn, if getting off the cigarettes is too hard. But don't take it up unless you really need it. It's just a harm reduction kind of thing. The most obvious, okay, irony. A change of key is often marked in the intonation. The ears have been cleaned. Wonderful, Fluffer. Why is it so quiet today, Fluffer? Nobody's live. Every time I've looked, it's been like nobody or one person. Where'd I put my phone? This is much more fun than doing the homework, you guys. You know, this is much more fun than doing the homework. Okay, come on. That could be, Fluffer. That could be. Fluffer, is SPTV.space down? It won't load on my Denmark was live today. So cool. And nobody was live. Never mind. It finally came through, Fluffer. Never mind. It finally came through. Danny's live. And Windy City Thetan is live. Okay. I saw that, Sunrise Dawn. I saw that. And I think Natalie had a similar problem, if I recall. Maybe I'm just merging both their streams in one hat. A change of key is often marked in the intonation. In English, that's brilliant with a falling intonation is a criticism. That's brilliant. The opposite of the same exclamation with a neutral rise-fall intonation. That's brilliant. Instrumentalities include the channel by which the language is carried, such as writing versus speech or sung versus spoken. This has become an increasingly important dimension as technological change has created new communication media, especially through the many affordances of the internet. Forms of speech covers the repertoire of codes that are available to speakers in a community. No, I didn't see cricket on Natalie's recap yesterday. Tell me. Tell me, tell me. Forms of speech. See chapter 5. we're not going there right now. Not in the index. Lovely. I am definitely sick, you guys. Norms are the rules governing the production and interpretation of language in a situation. Norms of interaction are the community's rules for communication and are most easily visible when someone breaks them. For an example, in an encounter between two contrasting cultures. They include such things as when it is appropriate to take a turn at speech and when to keep silent. For example, Athabascans leave more silence between speaking terms than do mainstream North Americans. Such rules for turn-taking in conversations are studied in particular detail by conversation analysts. The norms of interpretation show how interactants interpret each other's practices. When Athabascans and mainstream North Americans interact, both follow their own norms for silence after each turn. The Athabascans find the others rude or dominating because they themselves can never get a word in edgewise. The others think the Athabascans are sullen or superior because they will not talk. Both groups end up confused and frustrated by each other. Oh, nice, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Are you going to take little Sunrise Dawn with you, or is she going to stay home with Daddy? And what happened with cricket on Natalie's recap yesterday? Yes, retired Red, I think so too. A nice break and change of scenery. I've got to figure out where my mom's going to stay when we don't have any spare rooms. I need to make a note here. So the kiddo and I are taking Jasper with us. Nice. Nice, Sunrise Dawn. That'll be fun. How much longer until kiddo is out of school for the summer, honey? Genres involve the language associated with a particular kind of speech event, a story, a job application, a blog, and so on. Different genres have different rules for language choice and use. New technologies can create new genres, most obviously in the burgeoning of internet forums. Genre is a slippery concept which eludes easy definition, but which many analysts have found indispensable to understanding language use. Oh, fabulous. Was that this morning or yesterday? Yesterday. I will have to go look. Kiddo is already out? Nice. What do you guys start school again in mid-August or something? We're not out for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Yesterday was the last day. Nice. Nice. 3 weeks. Genre is a slippery concept which eludes easy definition, but which many analysts have found indispensable to understanding language use. The research activity later in the chapter offers the chance to apply and evaluate Heim's taxonomy. In the process, it will become clear that some of the terms are overlapping, obscure, counterintuitive, or simply selected to fit the mnemonic. Despite this, Heim's listing serves as a wide range where sociolinguists may browse and find something appropriate and usable for their analysis. Later, sociolinguists have adapted this kind of taxonomy for their own purposes. For example, Scullin and Scullin's Grammar of Context in Intercultural Communication. Applied judiciously and perceptively, the analysis of such components makes a good starting point for understanding how language works in specific situations. Okay, Sunrise Dawn. Okay, thank you. I will look at that when I'm done. Earlier, we saw briefly how Himes, as part of his speaking taxonomy, distinguished just 2 speakers and 2 hearer roles. Yeah, we don't start school until the week before Labor Day or the day after Labor Day. It generally depends. A more detailed approach comes from Erving Goffman, the sociolinguist of everyday life. Goffman's construct of the interaction order was an important influence on sociolinguistic approaches to speaking situations, and in later work, he himself engaged extensively with sociolinguistic issues. In an essay on footing, Goffman laid out what he called the production format, in which the speakers operate, recognizing 3 speaker roles. The animator is the voice box, the offer is the strategist who formulates the message, and the principal is the authority behind his words. Goffman thus splits Heim's role of sender into 2. See table 6.3. There's table 6.3. Can you guys see that? Heim's role of sender into 2. In the default case of ordinary face-to-face communication, the speaker is the sole first person playing all 3 of Goffman's roles simultaneously. But even these prove to not be fine enough for the complexities of many institutional production formats, especially in mediated communication, where a fourth role is required. In my research into the generation of news language, I subdivided the author role again to allow for the fact that they can be numerous authors, but not all of them play the same function towards the test. Thank you, Wolf. I don't need them. It does make it easier. We're reading this chapter, Wolf. We're rereading this chapter because it applies towards what I need to do for my paper. I'm supposed to be writing an ethnographic research paper, and I am lost, mostly because I don't feel like I have a good thesis, and I haven't been able to find a good thesis. The principal is the institutional authority behind a speech or text, whose position or stance is being expressed. There is an initial author who originates the first draft of a news story, but that story then passes through the hands of another. No. This one. So it's a combination of two assignments, Wolf. There is a requirement the final requirement is a graduate research paper. And what she has said is the graduate research paper can be an extension. I would love that, Sunrise Dawn. That would be amazing. That would be just amazing. So we have to do this ethnography on greetings. And to do that, we need to, there are several options, but the option that worked for me was to use reality television and to find sorry, I'm trying to find the paper that has the assignment. And it's not here. Okay. So, for the ethnographic paper, we had to do reality television, or the option I chose was reality television, and analyzing the greetings, analyzing 8 greetings, maybe 10 in reality television. And so what I choose to use for reality television was greetings between the streamers at Pearl Fest. So that assignment was due last Wednesday. However, there is also the final graduate paper assignment. And for the final graduate paper, we can either pick what we want to write it about, or we can just do an extension of the greetings assignment. And the graduate paper you will expand the greetings analysis assignment to include a short literature review and a discussion section, turning it into a paper that is structured more like a research article. You will also have a chance to refine, revise your analysis to include more information from the literature. So we need to find 5 to 8 primary sources on greetings. We can include sources cited in our class readings and 1 to 2 class readings. So I need a minimum of 3 additional sources beyond what we've read in the class. That is what I'm doing as the extension. When at first I was just going to do the greetings assignment and then do the paper on sociolinguistic, on Scientology, something. And then when I realized that we had to collect our own data for the greetings, it just seemed wise to do the reality TV portion of the greetings for Pearl Fest, and then I can just extend it in the paper. But what I'm having trouble doing, I've kind of written the ethnography, but I have to find these 5 to 8 sources that I can cite. The introduction. Using these resources, write a full introduction, including a small literature review using the CARS model of introductions. See the next page. This introduction should lay out the major themes in works on greetings rather than summarize each article separately. This introduction will most likely be 3 to 5 double-spaced pages. I don't know if I know how to do this. I think I've done this before, but this feels so much harder. So I have to establish a research territory, show that the topic is important, interesting, problematic, or relevant. Introduce and review what is already known in the area. Establish a niche, indicate a gap of the literature, or extend the previous knowledge in some way. So I'm having a hard time with this. I've got so many papers. Oh, there's the data collection on greetings. Well, Wolf Machine, the problem is the gap in the literature is incredibly wide because research on protests on YouTube about greetings. I mean, I had an hour and a half meeting with the research librarian, and we came up with almost nothing. Six greeting exchanges. So I have clipped and transcribed probably more than 6 greeting exchanges. So I need to cut it down. I'm really glad people love that kind of stuff. My daughter-in-law, or my son's girlfriend. It's much easier to say daughter-in-law. She loves this kind of stuff too. But I am having trouble understanding how any of my sources support what I'm saying. Well, one of the things, yes, Wolf Machine, one of the things that's interesting about all these greetings is A, the difference between the greetings between, say, Pearl Snappy and Selfless Self. Yeah. The greetings between Pearl Snappy and Selfless Self were really different than the greetings between, say, Lara and Selfless Self, or the greetings between Pearl Snappy and Lara. The other thing that's interesting is, as part of the greeting, the camera, the viewers are included. Yes, familiarity. Exactly. Familiarity. And it's not the same kind of excited greeting. It is a, hey, how you doing kind of greeting, right? There's just an acknowledgement and almost a standing back and letting the people who don't see each other very often or haven't met before to do it. So this other thing is really interesting because several times as part of the greeting, Lara specifically includes the greeting, the audience in the greeting. Or she talks to the audience and says, look who's here. It's Selfless Self, or it's Feral Cheryl, right? It is really unique. It is really unique. But finding sources, I am lost as to finding sources. I just don't know. And I feel like I've got some stuff, but there really isn't anything out there. Not much. So I'm going to have to set a lot up and then fly by the seat of my pants. I just don't know how to do it differently. 8 sources. That is a lot more than I thought I had to come up with. 8 is a lot. I know 8 isn't very many at all. 8 is, and usually I include more sources than I know what to do with. So, I've got a paper that is interesting that's on universal and culture specific properties of greetings. I've got a really interesting paper about YouTube and distant witnessing in the age of technology enhanced mediability. It's about YouTube specifically, but this one might be good. This one I'm not sure is going to be useful. It's too... That one goes there. Yeah, I think including the viewer and introducing to them is really what I want to focus on. What's this paper? Face work and confessional videos by YouTube content creators. do any of whose references? The ones I've had through class? Well, this one's Alessandra Durante, The Universal Culture Specific Properties of Greetings. There's another that's by Shegloff, which we should be using. Let me look for this paper. Yeah, this one. Sequencing and conversational openings. That one I need to pull out. Whoops. Okay. Put that away. Yeah, there's a couple of references that work for this. I'm checking Wolf Machine if there's anything else that we were assigned to read that wasn't the textbook that might help. And there's one paper I need to reread. I've got a couple papers that are reality TV. There aren't very many. Let me look real quick here. This one's good, and I haven't printed it. I should. Parlay in the Parlor. Greeting rituals, power dynamics, negotiation, and goal achievement in tattoo artist client discourse on TLC's New York Inc. So that's like the only one. Sorry. That is like the only one that works. The abstract says this article investigates greeting rituals. Oh, so I should pull this one. I should definitely pull this one. I will pull that one. It says this article investigates greeting rituals and negotiations between tattoo artists and studio clients as portrayed in New York Inc., an American reality television program about a New York tattoo parlor, the Wooster Street Social Club. Specifically, The study focuses on linguistic devices used toward goal achievement, assesses if and how gender influences goal outcomes, explores how power dynamics evolve, and discusses implications of prosody on negotiation practices between tattoo artists and their clients. Although media research has addressed social reality television program, little work has relied upon linguistic theory to analyze appropriate self-presentations at the local interactional level. The examination of reality television programming allows the audience to witness seminal junctures at which point language not only reflects daily elocutionary acts, but a shift towards changing power dynamics in relational identities. A discourse analysis is conducted using 9 artist-client greeting interactions, employing conversational logic theory, work on relational identity, power through discourse, and symbolic interactionism. I think I need to pull that one, don't you, Wolf Machine? I think so. I think it sounds like I need to pull that one and print it. Where were we in the chapter, y'all? Does that understand more of where I am, Wolf Machine? I've got some. I'm having a hard time just coming up what to say in a. I just didn't even. I don't know what to say. I feel very confused. Maybe it's because I'm sick. We shall see. Everybody always says I can do this. It's no problem. The straight listing of roles implies a linear chain, which in table. Hi, Sewell Blue. We are reading through chapter 6 in my textbook. It is on situated language, and we are just about not halfway through. We are maybe a third of the way through. I think it's because I'm sick and these papers are frustrating and overwhelming until they're finished. Okay, so they're always frustrating and overwhelming. I just don't even. I'm like I got nothing. You want me to make a literature review and summarize, and I'm not seeing the connections to pull together. Usually I can see the connections to pull together, and I know they've got to be there. So then I feel stupid because I'm not seeing them. Usually I look at the research and the data, and I read the papers, and something comes to me, but that is not happening here. And I'm very disappointed. I thought I would love sociolinguistics, and I am really struggling. And I don't know, it feels like it's harder than I've struggled with previous papers. But I don't know, you guys can tell me. You've seen me through papers. Everybody says that it looks, everybody in my real life says that it looks like that this is the same level of anxiety I always have. So I am not clear if this is the same level of anxiety I always have, like everybody's telling me, or if I'm feeling better, or really feeling that much worse. Okay, guys, you got to hold on a second. I've got to take a potty break. Hold on. Don't go anywhere, y'all. Sorry, I'm trying to move the keyboard icon. I will be back in a flash, y'all. Thank you, Wolf. Oh, Yogi Throat. That's a really good idea, CUL Blue. Some throat tea. Or are you sick too, Red? Oh, no, you're not sick too. You're sick too? Are you sick? I'm sure that missing the doctor appointments doesn't help me be at my optimum level. And I will call them tomorrow. Yeah, it's a nasty. I mean, it's actually, as colds go, I could probably take some Dayquil and be much better than I am. Okay, good, Red. Stay that way. Stay not sick. The straight listing of roles implies a linear chain, which in Table 6.3 looks like a production line from principal, author, editors, animator. But what is going on can better be regarded as an embedding or layering or nesting of one role within the next rather than as a line, as Goffman noted. To illustrate again through the news process, each separate role, in fact, represents its own distinguishable speech event, which could be characterized using the full apparatus of Heim's speaking taxonomy. I did, Robert. You hear it? Hi, sweetie. How are you doing? Journalists work in a particular setting with particular purposes and norms of interaction. They pass a text to copy editors who are working in their own different situation, then on to news readers in theirs, and so on. And each of these situations and the resultant texts is embedded within the next. Clearly, such a detailed description would be large and cumbersome, but traces of the many layers sometimes show through in the finished product, the published text. When a story published in New Zealand describes at a location as 129 kilometers west of London, we can safely deduce that the original said 80 miles, but the copy editors have neglected to round up the conversion to 130 kilometers. It's mostly my voice, Robert. It's a little bit of sore throat, and I do feel really drained. But I can't afford. COL Blue, I will take some Dayquil in a little while. Not unless you guys want me to stand up and go take it right now. And we already took a potty break. The concept of embedding is extraordinarily important for understanding how a lot of both everyday conversation and mediated language production work. Okay, right now? Okay, guys. I'll be right back. Feel free to roam about the cabin. When the cat's away, the mice will play, y'all. 3 times, Robert. I still haven't had COVID, but I caught this cold like nothing. I don't know what that's about. My husband has had COVID, but I haven't had it. Okay, guys, see? Whoops. Now I'm dropping them on the floor, guys. Hold on. Okay, now I'm back. Little black velvet every night? That's nice. 90 degrees here, Robert. Wow. 90 here too? Wow, Red. I don't think it's that warm here. Let me check. I must have gotten close to a sick Phaeton. That's it, Robert. Okay, guys. Cough meds down the hatch. Who should I blame it on? I'm now potential trouble source, right? Whose fault is that? Maybe I should send an email to the teacher and blame her. That picture looks a little better. I think I had my thumb over the camera again, guys. The teacher is the source of my PTS. Merlin's beard. That's it. They want me sick. I'm sure they want me sick. The concept of embedding is extraordinarily important for understanding how a lot of both everyday conversation and mediated language production work. Goffman describes the layerings or laminations which speakers routinely introduce into their talk as they recount stories or incidents about themselves or others. Hi, Evie, how are you? The production format of the story scenario is embedded into that of the story's telling. Each sure embedding changes the speaker's footing, their alignment or set or stance or posture or projected self. Contemporary sociolinguistic work also focuses on how speakers take up different footings. For example, in the course of a U.S. presidential campaign, where inconsistency or flip-flopping of candidate stances may itself become an issue. Pardon me, guys. Batkin has mentioned that much of our spontaneous speech consists of words that come from the mouths of others, and this is nowhere more evident than in news discourse. Most news is based on talk. The information that journalists write up is gleaned mainly from interviews and documents. Fragments from these texts are embedded into the story, most obviously as written quotations or audio and video clips. As a result, the news story you read or watch consists of a set of textual laminations, which would be almost impossible to unravel to its origins. I don't know, Wolf. I think that applies for research papers too. A cassette of textual laminations, which would be impossible to unravel to its origins, although you have to cite everything. So there you go. Evie, we are reading the chapter from my textbook on situated language because it is supposed to relate to. Thank you, CUL Blue. I didn't think it was very warm. It's not supposed to get warm till at the end of the week. We're going to have the 3,000 watch hours celebration on Friday in the garden because it's supposed to be warm and nice. Let's see how long it takes these meds to take effect, guys. And also, we will work toward this is the first Minnesota goodbye, working towards being done at 1:30, unless something changes. I know that completely obviates the needs for Minnesota goodbye. But guys, in less than 4 days, we're going to have a Minnesota goodbye icon. I'm so excited. JPEG, no. GIF. Emoji. They're emojis. I have to figure out how to make emojis. And I've got to make up that bracelet I said I'd do a giveaway for. Speakers require listeners. The audience makes up the complementary dimension of language interaction, the second and third persons of the pronoun paradigm. We saw in Table 6.2, Robert, how Himes distinguished between addressees and a wider set of hearers that were not being addressed. Yes, this is what I've been thinking about it. Unlike news speech. Okay, let me make a note back. I can cite the chapter. I'm allowed to cite the chapter. Where'd I put my pen? Shit, y'all. Oh, there it is. Right on the table. I could say something like that. Let's take a picture of that wolf machine. It's actually unscripted and unedited, unlike speakers require listeners. The audience makes up the complementary dimension of language interaction, the second and third persons of the pronoun paradigm. We saw in Table 2 how Himes distinguished between addressees and a wider set of hearers who are not being addressed. Goffman, however, points out that utterance does not carve up the world beyond the speaker into precisely two parts, recipients and non-recipients. He makes finer distinctions. Ooh, this is important. He makes finer distinctions between ratified and unratified participants. Oh, we're good, Dawn. Have a great day. I hope everything's okay. Maybe that tattoo parlor one has it. Something in there. I need to print that out and read it. I hate research papers with a purple passion. And my ethnography needs seriously edited, and I suck at editing. Okay, are people waking up? Are there more? Because you mod for the universe, Sunrise Dawn. Are there more people showing up to? SPTV.space is down. Fluffer, are you still here? Yes, Fluffer, a collaboration between Sunrise Dawn and me. That would be fun. Fluffer, SPTV.space is down. Do you know that? Break time. That's good, Sunrise Dawn. I'm really thankful that you're so conscientious. Due to high usage, just refresh. Okay. Hmm. Look at me. I'm streaming and I can't avoid looking at Fluffer Squirrel's website. Oh, there it is. Danny is live. Oh, really, Jen? Shit. Shit. Let's take a look at that. Oh, Nora is live, and it doesn't say Nora is live. Fluffer. Oh, there, now she's live. And Reese is live. Okay, now it makes more sense. ZDT was live streaming Danny, and during it, Danny gets swatted. Yeah, Fluffer, it works for me now. It works for me now. Something about how live stream greetings and conversation are unique compared to reality TV because of the interaction between the streamer. Okay. Highlighting a gap in the research. Okay. Well, the goal of this paper is for it to be something. So for my final cumulative project for my master's, I have to take, for the whole cumulative project, one of the things I have to do, one of the many things I have to do, is take a research paper with data that I've already written and clean it up, add more sites, expand upon it. And my hope is that this paper will be the one that I'm able to use. So we will see. It's interesting. I think you're right, Wolf. I think you're absolutely right. Okay. Jen, is Danny okay? I was going to look, but I just don't have the energy. Let me look myself. It's a bunch of cops. How did he get swatted? Okay. Yes, very quiet. My tummy was already unhappy. It doesn't much like the pills. I probably should have eaten something. Too late now. They'll be handled in another 10 minutes. Easily enough. Oh, Wolf. I appreciate that. Then ranks the audience roles according to whether or not the persons are addressed, ratified, or known by the speaker. The main audience role is the second person, the addressee, who meets all three criteria: known, ratified, and addressed. Other present third persons may be licensed to participate, but they are not directly addressed. I term these auditors. Beyond them, talk often has a wider audience of unratified third parties, those whom the speaker knows to be present, but who are not ratified participants in the conversation, are overhearers. Parties within innocent earshot of the conversation. Other parties whose presence is unknown to the speaker are eavesdroppers, whether they are intentionally and maliciously hiding behind the arras, or whether they hear by chance because they just happen to be within earshot or out of sight. The specific configuration of all these rules in relations during any given utterance is, to use Goffman's term, the participation framework of that moment of talk. So, Wolf, I think I need to talk about this because we have audience roles for an addressed recipient. We have audience roles for not addressed recipients. We have the not ratified audience. So they're like an overhearer. And then we have eavesdroppers. But even the stream is an addressed recipient, isn't it, Wolf? It's the textbook. That's why we're rereading this chapter. They're breaking the fourth wall. They're breaking the fourth wall, and that doesn't even happen in. I've got to find something about breaking the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall. because all of Goffman's stuff is related to drama. And so, of course, Goffman would come up with an addressed recipient and an unaddressed recipient, because that would be when you're on stage, the addressed recipient is the person on stage that is speaking to another person. That is the addressed recipient. And the unaddressed recipients are the audience. But we don't have unaddressed recipients here. They're all addressed recipients. They're just included in the greeting in a weird way. And I maybe will need to talk to my teacher about this. These 4 audience roles are implicationally ordered according to their status as addressed, ratified, and known. Yeah, I'd better make a note, not in the book, on an actual piece of paper. Breaking the 4th wall. Okay, that's written down. The medicine's starting to work, y'all. Slowly but surely. Here we are. These 4 audience roles are implicationally ordered according to their status as addressed, ratified, and known. 2nd Minnesota goodbye, y'all. Often in an interaction, the physical distance of audience members from the speaker coincides with their role distance, with the addressee physically closest and eavesdropper furthest away. Audience roles are assigned by the speaker, and visual criteria such as physical placement, body orientation, or direction of gaze are often... There's a sentence I need to cite. Audience roles are assigned by the speaker, and visual criteria such as physical placement, body orientation, or direction of gaze are often crucial to identifying who is who. Thanks, Wolf. I'd appreciate it. You have library access so you can look, I assume? The difference between these audience roles have significant sociolinguistic repercussions. We have seen in preceding chapters how speakers choose their language code depending on who their specific addressee is. Okay. Well, if you find anything interesting, according to the abstract, I've got, of course, PSU library access, so I can send it over, or I can read it. We have seen in preceding chapters how speakers choose their language code depending on who their specific addressee is. This is most obvious when the repertoire is multilingual rather than monolingual. In a bilingual group, the language you choose to use may in fact be enough to nominate who it is that you are addressing. Gal reports an instance from her Oberwart study where two younger people in a farm kitchen were joking together in German. The young man switched out to Hungarian when he wanted to ask his mother something. The change in language choice briefly and directly reclassified the mother as his addressee, whereas she had been just auditor to the German conversation of the younger ones. Okay, that's also important. Because it's not the change in language choice here. It's the direction of gaze. It's pointing, it's including the camera in the greeting, right? It's including the camera in the greeting. It's including the audience as part of the greeting. And Lara is really the best at doing that out of everyone. One case where production and audience roles quickly become very complex occurs with translation or interpretation from one language to another. Vigaru describes the role and footing complexities involved in a Pentecostal church service for Congolese migrants in South Africa, where the pastor's French language sermon must be simultaneously translated into English. Within a monolingual code, speakers can adjust their pronunciations very finely to cater to change in audience. Yeah, she's excellent at it. It's an interesting thing. Language choice can be influenced. Yeah, she's really good at turning the camera on herself. Language choice can be influenced not just by the addressee, but by the outer audience roles, the auditor and the overhearer. It is common practice in many bilingual communities for even a single monolingual speaker joining a group and thus becoming an auditor to trigger a switch by the whole group to the monolingual's language so as to include the person as a participant. Continuing use of a language that one participant does not understand would define the uncomprehending hearer as unratified outside the group. Even overhearers can have this kind of effect on speakers' language choice. Gumpers found an absolute overhearer determined rule operating in a bilingual Slovenian German community in southwestern Austria. So strong is the injunction against speaking Slovenian in mixed company that tourists can live in the village for weeks without noticing that any language except German is spoken. But overhearer-oriented choices are generally less determined. Gallandorian record identical incidents from their two communities, but with opposite results. In Oberwart, a group of bilinguals at an inn switched from Hungarian to German when overhearers at a nearby table requested it. But in East Sutherland, a group of bilinguals in a bar refused a similar request to switch from Gaelic to English. I read this and I'm just mystified. In Oberwart, a group of bilinguals at an inn switched from Hungarian to German when overhearers at a nearby table requested it. If people at a nearby table spoke a different language than I was speaking at my table, and they requested I change to English, I would be so pissed. Why the fuck do they care if I change to English? Unless they need to hear what I'm saying. Seriously? Oh, I told my prof, Wolf. I told my prof that it's almost like they're speaking a different language. And she looked at me weird. And I said, look, these kids that are born into Scientology, they come out of Scientology and they don't have xenophobes. Exactly, Wolf. They don't have the language to discuss things normally. They can't speak properly about a number of things. They don't have the language to speak. They don't have a language about their emotions. They've got a completely different language. And one of the things that I really wanted to do my paper on was exactly that, because there is in the live that was Mitch and Nora and Liz, there was one instance in that live where one of them switched to Scientologies to get over a communication hitch. And it led to greater understanding between they used the Scientology word, either Nora did or Mitch did. One of the two of them did. I think it was Nora. And helped to further explain the language. Okay, y'all, third Minnesota goodbye. That means that the world is going to show up. Although Reese is live and I'm missing her. Is the light going on, y'all? Yeah, the light is going on. Yeah, isn't it interesting, Wolf? You're a little mad at Danny. He was using the middle handicap parking spot. I am sorry, CUL Blue. That is really not cool of him to use a handicap spot. Yeah, often I just go to the back of the lot. And I don't even use a handicap spot, so I can find a place that nobody can park behind me. It's pretty easy because my lift comes out of my lift gate, comes out of the back end. But Danny really shouldn't be using the middle handicap part. I can understand you being frustrated at that. Who is in the middle line parked? Why was he in the handicap spot? He shouldn't be doing that. I can understand you being upset with him, CUL Blue. I'm not sure I understand CUL Blue. I'm not sure I fully understand about the laundry. Was he at the laundry? And he was swatted at the laundry? Now I'm really confused. which doesn't mean I don't sympathize with your frustration with Danny. I guess what I would say about that is Danny's very young, and young kids do stupid things, including parking in the handicap spot when they ought not. Exactly, Wolf Machine, xenophobes. See you, old blue. I will look for the rest of your story. I'm sorry if I'm being dense. Just as the media situation complicates the roles we need to describe the language producers, so it complicates the audience roles through the kind of embedding discussed earlier. Since he was in the laundromat doing, I don't like it either, Wolf. I don't like it either. And I have to admit, when I was younger, I have been guilty once or twice of taking the handicap spot because it was there. But I also, okay, CUL Blue, thank you. He was swatted at the fucking laundromat? He was swatted at the laundromat? What the actual fuck? Like the larger dressing rooms? Yeah. Or the handicap stall? Yeah. It's another reason I prefer the wheelchair to the cane. A cane would work partially. It doesn't solve the have to sit down problem. But also people I haven't had people be rude because I'm in the wheelchair. What I've had is people accommodating to the fact that I'm in the wheelchair, which is nice. I can't believe he was swatted at the laundry. What about all the other people at the laundry, you guys? What about that? I don't even get it. I don't even get it. Let me check my text messages. Nothing. Okay. Thank you, Wolf. Yeah, it's most people are actually over apologetic. Jen, how are you doing? We are just having a laid back. It wasn't LAPD that responded. Jen Wow is the best. Who responded, pup? They look on your live feeds. Yeah, I think other people third goodbye. Exactly, Wolf. I told you. Jen Wow lurks until I say third Minnesota goodbye. You're at the beach? That's lovely, Jen. Did you heard my good news, right, Jen? I haven't seen Ellie, so I don't know if I've had a chance to tell Ellie. But I think I told you the exceptional news. Jen, I really do think you lurk until I say third Minnesota goodbye. You didn't? Let me show you. Let me show you. Look at this. You just got here. It's hilarious. They didn't over-respond and no long guns. That's the news, Jen. You're not paying full attention. Okay, Jen. Oh, you already seen the watch hours. Yeah. That's I'm still going on about it. I apologize. I thought you had seen it. Yeah. I thought you had seen it. Yeah. I am actually over 3,000 now. So we are just waiting on the YouTube clock to catch up. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much. Good pup. Very good. I'm glad that he did that. I am really glad he did that because I am, you know, when we're out there live streaming, we're vulnerable to anybody calling. Jay and Matthew the King tagged a wall with SPTV on it. I hope they had permission, right, Jen? I'm so much of a rule follower and a mom. But if Jay and Matthew the King did it, I'm sure it's absolutely fine. They are both lovely. Pup is going to send me a million. Don't be a boomer. It's really hard, Wolf. As an elder Gen Xer, I fall into those boomer patterns every once and so often. I'm almost a boomer. I'm right on the line between boomer and Gen X. Swallows for just that. Cool. I am sure that see, it was Matthew the King and Jay. Of course it was. That's so cool. Is it do they have pictures, Jen? Are they going to share pictures or did they take a video? Don't be a boomer. My kids call me boomer. I hate it. I don't know, guys. What are you going to do with my hair down? I'm going to have my hair down. I got to make a bracelet this week. So it complicates the audience roles through the kind of embedding discussed earlier. Yes. Jay is a rule follower too. Yeah, he's a good guy. I really like Jay. I really like Jay. Since each interaction situation becomes embedded inside the next, audience roles as well as speaker roles are laminated. A concert performance in front of a live audience can be broadcast in real time or recorded. The live performance is a situation with its own full set of audience roles. When that performance is then broadcast, embedding it in the mediated situation, the wider audience generates its own further set of rules. This can lead to trouble. The concert becomes technologically available to the audience, which includes groups who were not targeted in the live event. Through mass media, everyone may become overhearers. Everyone may become participants, actually. And through the internet, everyone is potentially an eavesdropper, unaddressed, unratified, and unknown but there, as many have discovered to their cost. There's another. You waiting on Aaron? Aaron? You got all the way down here and the tire is flat? Oh no, Jen. That's awful. You did get down there in one piece. Yes. Hey, Jen, Lisa's Day Off, who is another one of the protesters who protests with us in Portland, is hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. And her plan is to be in LA this weekend. Um, so I'm just telling people because I want her to have. You waiting on the tow truck now? Okay. I want her to have a great time. And so, since yep, exactly, Fluffer. Bless your heart. She's going to be in LA this weekend. And I would love for people to show her off. She is amazing. She's got to have 20 years on me, and she is hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. Okay, let me look. Did everything come out okay with Danny? Jay. It's not there yet. Oh, he's picking the pictures now. Okay, I'll set that down and keep talking. Wolf, I think we're finding some good things here. Speaker and audience roles are central to the study of speech acts, the abiding interest in the field of pragmatics, which is one of sociolinguistic's nearest disciplines. Yes. Sorry, guys, I had to take that call. I think so. I think I'll finish reading. I'll finish reading the. I'm glad you had fun, Jen. I want to see the pictures before we hang up. Brad, see you later, honey. I want to show off the pictures. I see he went off live, pup. He's fine, though. Let's read a little bit further. Checking. Not yet. Pragmatic scholars and politeness. I don't know that I want to go into all of this. Gumper's work relates, often quite explicitly. I am waiting for these pictures, Jen. I said third Minnesota goodbye. Okay, good. Good, pup. That's great. My goodness, everybody is live right now. Okay, guys. As much as I'd like to wait for Jay's pictures, Jen, I think Lori, see, never fails. Third Minnesota goodbye. Third Minnesota goodbye. New people show up. Big Chief, have you been here this whole time, man? You are literally the best. Or did you just dip back in? We are waiting. We've said our third Minnesota goodbye, and we are waiting with bated breath, sort of lurking. You can sort of lurk anytime, Big Chief. We enjoy that. We are waiting for these amazing pictures that Jay is going to post. Lurking is cool. I don't mind lurking. I'm still floored that somebody called in a swatting at the laundromat. What about all the other people in the laundromat? That's my uptone. I'm uptone. Yeah, it has helped a little bit. COL Blue. My voice is a little less froggy. I have a little more energy. Thank you guys for forcing me to go take it. You're going on your balcony for 420? That sounds lovely. Let me find mine. Oh, here. My adorable little bear that Mind Candy loves. I hope she got one like it. I think the medicine did help a little bit, CUL Blue. And I expect that this other medicine will help a little bit too. Wolf, I love your Thank you, CUL Blue. Are you taking off? It is getting awful late. I will take care. CUL Blue, you're gonna be at the celebration party on Friday, right? We totally want you to come. Okay, good. Okay, good. It's really important to me that everybody be there. We're going to miss Fluffer Squirrel, unfortunately, because I posted it too late. I made the time too late for their bedtime. I wasn't thinking straight when I made it. But tell you about which, CUL Blue. Tell me about which. My short-term memory is shot. I think it's the cold. Tell me about which I'm supposed to tell you about, CUL Blue, and then I will happy to be share. I need to take a nap soon, guys. Oh, the party? So it has been requested that I have my hair down for the party. So I am going to wear my hair down for the party. And Pup Groomer is sending me a bag of stickers for a giveaway. And I am going to make... You may have to take your toaster outside to light it. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes, Pup Groomer. I can understand that. So I'm going to make a bracelet. I made Reese a sterling silver and Swarovski crystal SP bracelet. Good, Lori. Good. Thank you. I was wondering where mine was, but that's not going to help you very much. Anyhow, I'm going to make a bracelet just like that. It has clear crystals and goldenrod color crystals. So it'll be really pretty. And so I can give one of those away. And I don't know what else we're going to do. Oh, we're going to show, you're all going to get a chance to see Scotch, since both soda. Friday at 5:30, CUL Blue. Here. There's a party here on Friday at 5:30. Here, right here on this channel. For what, Wolf Machine? Sorry, I completely lose the thread, you guys. I go on to the next thing, number 4. So we're going to have stickers from Pup Groomer. We're going to have my hair down. We're going to get to see Scotch. And I'm going to make a bracelet. That's 4 things. Are there any more that you guys want? Oh, and maybe child number 4. That's what Wolf Machine is referencing to. Child number 4 might make an appearance. Mom might make an appearance, and I might talk child number 1 into making an appearance. Not necessarily in person. Oh, Lori, you're so sweet. Just wait until you get a look at Scotch. Soda is beautiful. Scotch is magnificent. He is magnificent. What's the 649 CUL Blue? Is that over here around the corner in Aloha? I'm not a beer drinker. Does that mean you hate me? I'm sorry, I have not yet found a beer that I can drink. I do not like the bitter. Beer has never been something. I tried to drink Bud Light. Yeah, it's on 185th and Farmington. That's what I thought. Around the corner. Around the corner. I will go for cider. But we have to wait. COL Blue, we have to wait until after finals. They do have other drinks. They have some nice mixed drinks. It's on the southwest corner, if I recall correctly. Has lime and tequila. The Desperados. Cider is good too, and mixed drinks. Yeah. They have some nice stuff. I think they're on the southwest corner behind the Safeway, right? After finals. After finals, and we can talk about it. CUL Blue. You know how to email me, right? Have you seen my email? Turn the comments on. Okay. Shoot me an email and we can plan it for after class is out. That's so weird. Okay, guys, I think it is time. Lori. I'm sorry it's so late. Before flights? Yes. Between flights. I do my best drinking at the airport between flights. I try to not have extra time waiting in arrivals. It's not, or departure. It's not my favorite thing to wait at the departure gate. I like to avoid it. So, 4th Minnesota goodbye, and it is a wrap here at the corner joint, y'all. I think the consensus is y'all want to be buds rather than niblets. I had significant appreciation. Yes. Well, if you haven't seen, Kelly Copter just scheduled a video. Guys, we need to hold that 4th Minnesota goodbye for a minute. Hold. Come on. Come on. Puppy. Nope. Not a hold. Kelly Copter is going live asking if she's in the cult of Aaron in a couple of hours. So make sure and catch Kelly Copter. And I appreciate y'all, you guys. Thanks for hanging out here with me. Sicky time at the corner joint. Thanks to all you buds for getting me to the 3,000 watch hours. And I will see y'all later. Take care.